So you've had that awakening, that disillusionment, that everything that you were taught about everything almost, by everyone almost, was wrong. And you have spent decades living that way. And now you're just sitting there having a crisis, thinking that the old system is clearly was not designed for your well-being. And now you're here. What about the new system? Where's the new system? Because the new system has not been born yet. It is supposed to be born through you. It is still in its nascent stages, what I call the new earth. In this video, we'll be talking about what happens when you have that first disillusionment, that which I call the first spiritual awakening, and what follows thereafter. Once you have that disillusionment, and now you're thrown into this world where you need to question everything. Now you have no idea about what is right, what is wrong, what is happening in my life. Why am I so confused? Why do I feel this way? Why do I feel lost? Should I not feel found? After having this realization that my whole life was a sham, because everything that I was taught about everything was sham and was based on principles that do not align for anybody's well-being, let alone mine. That's a good news. I think that's the good part. Many people brush through life, never have this realization. You are not one of them. You had that realization, and that's why you are watching this particular video and called to this particular frequency that I'm emitting, because I, my friend, also went through this. 5 years back in 20 during COVID time, I had my first massive disillusionment that had lived my whole life backwards, in the sense that I thought external defined my internal. Well, when the truth was that my internal got projected on the external and got amplified in the external, and I realized that everything in my life that was good, which was not that much but was good, was also because of me, and all the things that were bad in my life and the mess and crazy shit that was happening in my life was also something that I manufactured or created or attracted or projecting it, even if it's not there. This is what follows once you have the spiritual awakening. You are pushed into this phase of identity death. So that old identity, old person that you were a few years back doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't die overnight, but it's like a massive chunk has gone overnight. But because the awakening journey has more and more layers to it, so there are more lessons to be unraveled as well. But what happens is that then you are pushed after this disillusionment with, what do I do now? What do I do with this information? What do I do with this new understanding about life, and with all my questions that have come? What is truth? Who am I? Where is this life going? What is our, earth looking like for us? What have we done to our planet, our home? What kind of food are we eating? What kind of clothes are we wearing? What kind of relations I'm having? What kind of ideas of love I'm having? Everything is coming under question. So now you are pushed, my friend, into a different sort of journey, which is called, usually not a great name, maybe I should change it, but for now, for convenience sake, let's call it the dark night of the soul, which is what it is popularly called. Your dark night of the soul journey. This polishing that you're gonna get right now is what will pave the way for you in the future to become the beast that will be becoming, and to become the movers and shakers of the world tomorrow. Many people never have this opportunity. They never get disillusioned, or if they do, they still hold on back because it can get very scary and might feel like a death, sort of, and it is a sort of death, but it's not you dying physically. It is what you thought of yourself to be dying, but it can cause then survival stress as well. And some people are not ready for that at that stage. They will be ready later in this life or in next life or whatever it might be, but you are not going to be that. So, but what you do after this awakening is, when you are going through the dark night of the soul, and what does it mean? It means that you are going to marred with questions, existential questions, and really wanting to know who you are, what really rings your bell, your life, whether it fits into it, it hits all the right spots in your soul, in the sense that it is juicy enough, it is delicious enough, what feels draining, what feels good. So you are finding that out. And why something feels good? Is it because of some instant gratification or ego-based pleasure, or is it really coming from a joy of the heart, which is a completely different story, which is something completely different from what an egoistic fulfillment of desire feels like, So after this journey, once you are in the throes of this journey, you are going to come across your demons, There's no other way to put it. You will come across all your unhealed parts, all the things that you have done wrong, all the things that others have done wrong, all the things, all the ways you have attracted something because you did not have the tools and awareness, and there was not a good example around of a conscious and loving person around, which is the case for most of humanity, because we are still coming out of the dark ages, so to speak, the 3D earth, and moving into the 5D. That's why this spiritual awakening is triggering in thousands and thousands of people across the globe, It's sort of a revolution in consciousness, which I've also talked about in another video that I made, a shift from 3D earth to 5D earth. You should check that out. I'll post that in the description, the link to that video. But the thing is, we are very much in tune and in sync with the broader movement of the earth towards her evolution, and we are also thus, because everything as above so below, everything is interconnected, we are also moving towards our own evolution, more conscious and more expanded existence, and which will continue to expand further and further, which is an ever evolving journey, and we have that possibility as a human. A cat might not have that possibility. Well, they also have possibilities of spiritual expansion and growth in a different sense, but the extent to which we have the capacity to change our lives and dictate, take our life by the balls, so to speak, and just turn it around and be a completely different person from who we were born as, and the situations and circumstances we were born in, and the people that we were surrounded by, completely changing that into something which is great. We have that capacity, which is more expanded, more in tune with who we are, more authentic, and more true to the planet, which in sync with the principles of on all levels, and love and light and unity and oneness, which is what 5D earth is all about, guys. And what I wanted to do with this episode and with my channel, I had the clarity just today that the people that I want to talk to and the feeling that they are looking for is one of camaraderie, of reassurance, that they are in the throes of this lost phase, the most confused. They might even feel depressed. They might feel grief that they've never felt because it was buried there, but because you were just in the matrix, you never care to look what was happening within, and then it comes into outbursts periodically, right? But I was just thinking about this, so I wanted to share, because I felt so isolated and felt like nobody was understanding what I was going through, and then all sorts of crazy circus was happening in the world with the pandemic, and that was not the biggest of my worries for sure, because I was not, that phase, because I had faith. But apart from that, personally, what I was going through, my whole family was abandoning me. They were not aligning with what I was experiencing and what I'm becoming, because they were so used to me being a submissive, controlled little person who will listen to, and who's their insurance plan and will listen to them and live her life according to them, and who's not allowed to make choices that she authentically aligns with, which I did actually. I was doing it for the longest time, but now I didn't want to do. I live my life according to what my heart says, more or less. And if I don't do that, I'm realizing more and more the great amount of hurt it causes when you live in an inauthentic life, or a small life, a life that is not meant for you. It's such a deep kind of pain, but you come to that pain later when you have managed to come out of your survival stress, and many people are stuck there, and ego, when you have that spiritual awakening, ego dies, so you have that survival stress kick in many times, and you have all sorts of unresolved issues that now, because you are aware, you have more space to see the whole surface of the earth and the matrix and the illusions, now you are in a better and much more expanded phase and much developed space to slowly hold and open the mess that is already inside you. And that has been there, and that was trying to call your attention towards itself, but because you were so busy in the external and all your energy was flowing external in your routines, in your 9 to 5s and your social life and your drinking and partying and smoking and whatever it might be. No shade, because who am I to judge? I've been there, done that. But I'm speaking this from a place of love, that after you have a spiritual awakening, you cannot go back to your previous life like everything is hunky-dory and like there is ignorance is bliss in that way. But once your eyes open, you cannot unknow, as we call it. Me and my friend call it that. So you cannot unknow what we, if once you have seen, you cannot go back to your previous life. You might try, but then that little voice will always be there telling you that you're living lie, your life is a lie. And it keeps getting bigger and bigger with time. So you can either go horribly off the path if you do not listen to it, or if you listen to it, you have to go through the discomfort. And I'm here to tell you that once you go through the discomfort, you're supposed to go through the discomfort. This is sort of the biggest blessing that you could have gotten in this life. Because without going through these hells that, we are going through, and not like other people are putting us through hells. It's like the internal hell that you're feeling like, oh shit, like, why do I feel like this? Why did I do this when I was 5 or 10? Why did I kick that girl out of our group? She must have felt so isolated. That's oddly specific because it's true, guys. I've been that girl, I did that. I perpetuated that on her, one of the friends, when I was very young. But that was a cause of shame that I very recently got to remember and felt so much remorse about, and then have to do a forgiveness exercise because I'm not in touch with her at all. Had I been in touch with her, maybe I would have apologized directly, but in this particular case, it was not relevant. It was not required because I asked Spirit for guidance on these matters, and also my Guru, because who has given me all of this wisdom and understanding. Without him, I would have not gotten anywhere with my spiritual awakening. It could have just been like, there are two ways when you have a spiritual awakening, two ways to go about it. And right now, with the 3D Earth and 5D Earth splitting timelines, you choose either the version of Earth that is going for collapse, all sorts of climatic catastrophes, floods. I don't want to say those kind of things, but that's what it is. For the 3D Earth, all sorts of crazy scenarios happening on that Earth. We do not want to be on that Earth, but for that, it's not like you go out and change the world. First, you go and change your frequency of the world, and the external world will show what the changes that you've made inside. Show you that you're on the right timeline and you are not aligned to that version of Earth, and you are aligned to the version of Earth where everything is thriving and people are becoming more autonomous, where people are being given their power back, which had been taken systematically by the government, where women are being empowered, which had been taken away by the patriarchal systems and systems of ego control and all those things. And the version of Earth where ecological balance is again coming into play, and like all the species are thriving, the flora and fauna is happy, people are living in sync with each other, that kind of Earth. Let's create utopia. Who's stopping us, And we can do that by shifting the things inside us. But that cannot happen, that happens later. Once you have to go through your whole inner mess, and slowly and gradually your Earth, that the version of Earth you are on, will also shift. And since this is the time of change, this is the time of deciding. We do not want to waste any more time. There's work for us to do, guys. And because I'm emitting this frequency of the New Earth architects, I'm very clear on that I'm talking to the people who will be grounding the version of Earth, this 5D version of Earth, the utopian Earth, to whatever extent. Those will be the people who would, from the old collapsing systems that are not working, the economic system, the social system, the whatever systems or everything that is there, which is external reflection of the chaos that people are experiencing inside and then creating this mess outside. You are the people who will be, from the collapse of those systems, like a phoenix, new systems would be rising. Like, for example, the rise in conscious communities, it's not random, you guys. Many people are having these ideas. Many people are being called to come back to the nature, not live in cities, I live off grid, thanks to God. Thank God I came to the farm during COVID. Not just during COVID, but I cannot live in those mad houses, you know. I mean, I can. I have more capability to be sane there now that I've done a lot of work on myself. But still, they are very, like, completely not apt for any human's well-being, more or less. I'm not talking about all cities, but majority of the metropolitan cities and the cities that are getting bigger and noisier, they are great for a particular kind of experience that a soul might want to have. But once you have had that dose, because I was born in a city, and then you come back to even yourself, to even listen to your own heart, because there's no peace in the city. You need to come first, because if you're just learning, you need to go for retreats or go in nature or isolation or to the park daily to just come back to your heart and listen to what your heart is feeling, heart is saying, and just, you know, come back to the now. And whatever your inner universe wants your attention to be drawn towards, dealing with that. And then moving from that place of inspiration rather than just creating, reacting this and that and just being a complete mess. So, and it's not like always you have to be in this space. I needed 5 years to be in the phase of sort of isolation that I got being at the farm. Over 5 years, I've been here at the farm, thanks to Sagi, who had this vision for a conscious space in sync with Earth's well-being and humans' well-being on all levels. And having that out for people who want to heal and do the work and get inspiration and connect to their higher self and relax. So I've been here, and I've been for the first time able to listen to my own thoughts and really see whether these thoughts are mine or someone else's, these emotions are mine or someone else's, which you do not get because the density is so high in a little space. So many people are there and there's constant noise. This fucks with your head and your emotional balance. But now that I've done the work for over 5 years, and I'm still going to do it, like I still need tons and tons of work to be done on me, guys, still. But I'm still fairly fine, and I feel great, like safe and happy where I am. I'm even proud of myself about many aspects of my life. And I'm very happy about the decisions that I've made in life. Many people cannot say that, but I've taken them consciously and I've paid the price for them, which was definitely not comfortable, but yeah, that's what you have to do on this journey. And once you have that capacity to hold the crazy mess, because the crazy people are mostly, not all, but most of them are in the cities. And they're almost everywhere because humanity is sort of deranged at this point. Most of them are crazy. I have been there, so like, who am I to judge? But like, it's the harsh truth. Most of the people running around are crazy, and people living in the cities and living that for years and decades, what it does to your system is crazy. If you have that level of, you know, attachment and self-awareness, and that you do not lose your presence even in that mess, which is of course the test that you will be put through later, which I am put through by existence periodically to check how much presence I've built in being here in my isolation. I'm constantly, like, the flow aligns for me events where I have to go to the city or go into social settings. And earlier I was not being, you know, called to do that, but now more and more I'm little bit with speaking also. Right now I'm just being, you know, pushed a little bit to the my social life is also now going to expanding. But I needed that 5 years plus years of isolation to do the inner work and go through the dark night of the soul and just have my pregnancy journey in peace and come back to my senses in a way. And I'm still learning, but I'm just sharing my 2 cents, guys. I hope it helps somebody. So you will be used by existence and you will be put into crazy mess because you are the ones who have healed, who have done the work on themselves. You can guide other people little bit if they want to learn from you on how they can also create a happier life and how they do not need to suffer and they have the right to choose, you know. So this was on a tangent, but I'm not gonna regret it at all because it comes what needs to comes, and I allow it. And but just wrapping it up, that once spiritual awakening hits, that disillusionment hits, that old system starts collapsing and the new has not been born. You are in that middle space of the dark night of the soul. Things will get better slowly and gradually. It might take years. It will take years, months, whatever it might take. No need to rush this process. You are not alone. There are millions, at least thousands at least, but I'm sure, I hope millions of people who are going through the same thing that you are going through. And you are the people, we are the people who will be creating a more conscious earth, more loving earth, a better future for our future generations, taking care of our environment. But that starts with taking care of ourselves and accepting our flaws and loving all the inner children that we have that are crying for love still, and just doing the inner work, which I'll be talking about surely. And I am talking about those topics in my, not just my Telegram community, which is more unhinged, more woo-woo than what I'm putting out here on in the video format. But I'm just brimming, and I have so much to share about what I'm learning and what might be helpful for you in your dark night of the soul journey, and what happens once you are, more or less sort of feeling like, you're okay with life, where it is, you are at peace with, how things are in your life, and you're sort of happy, even content with the decisions that you've made and those kind of things. So that's what I wanted to share, and you're not alone in this. This is very much intentional. This is a good news that you have gone through this awakening, and now you are in a space of confusion, because the people who know who they are before they know who they are, the most dangerous people to earth and to other people around them and to themselves. All sorts of crazy things they do on this planet. We do not want to be that. We want to heal our trauma from within first, so then we can share later our joy externally. It will be projected outwards, and many people will be lit up by our own inner light. But first we must love ourselves, we must accept ourselves, and that process starts with going through slowly, little by little, deeper into our own shadows, deeper into things that trigger us, deeper into things that make us fearful, deeper into the things that make us feel unsafe. These are the things that we need to really delve into in this dark night of the soul journey, and this is going to be the biggest polishing journey. And after that you'll come through the tunnel and become the beast that you will become, and change the world by changing yourself first. So much love to you. I hope this helped somebody. Feel seen, feel heard. You're not alone in this. Guides are helping you. All the help is available to you. Guidance and love is available to you. You only need to allow it. It's already there. So, and I'll be continuously creating. Hope this helps somebody. So subscribe to my channel, and for people who are more interested and want to go deeper with the energetics and woo-woo topics and deeper dives into what I'm talking about here, follow me on Telegram, and I share that, post that daily, there daily almost. So much love. Take care. Bye bye.